The 10th day of the terrifying extreme heat. I saw someone dragging a corpse downstairs. They wanted to drain the blood for distillation to get some water. A highly cultured owner upstairs explained it's actually feasible. The human body is 78% water. A professional doctor downstairs reminded them that dead bodies won't work. The blood has already congealed. You need a living one. The neighbor next door added that you have to choose the right person. For instance, a woman's blood tastes sweet. Don't ask me how I know that. And I am the only single woman in this building. Then, a knock came at my door. It's hot, so hot. Since the beginning of July, it's been nearly half a month. Not a single drop of rain has fallen. The air conditioner has been turned down to 10 degrees, but it's completely useless. The temperature gets higher every single day, constantly breaking the record for the hottest weather in history. Yesterday's weather forecast showed 41 degrees, but my own thermometer read 45 degrees. The feels-like temperature is probably pushing 50 degrees now. At first, the property management staff in the group chat reassured us, saying our residential compound is a high-end complex for foreigners, so the property management is top tier. We have priority for electricity, so there's nothing to worry about. But by that night, it turned into staggered electricity usage. Then, it shifted to scheduled power supply. Now, it's been 2 days since the power went out completely. The emergency generator can only be used for elevators and emergency facilities in public areas. The property management posted heatstroke prevention tips in the group, telling everyone to close their curtains. And after ensuring physical insulation, they never spoke again. I heard whispers that some security guards have already died from the heat and they can't keep up with the bodies. Actually, the power outage isn't the hardest part. What's more aggravating is the water supply cut caused by the high heat. At first, they said it would be cut for a day, but now it's the 3rd day and it still hasn't come back. I have a bad feeling about this. Heat only makes people irritable, but the lack of water will cost people their lives. Last night, the water in the pond within the compound. Some people even turned their noses up at it for being dirty and refused to collect it. But this morning, the water had completely dried up under the sun. I feel incredibly fortunate that I stayed awake during the second half of the night and secretly carried up for buckets. There was a lot of commotion in the community group last night. The community center agreed to coordinate and send more water, but they can only guarantee the bare minimum for usage, 1 bottle per person. Many people are complaining in the small chat group while standing by the window. I pulled the curtain open, just a crack. It's only 6 a.m., but the sun outside is blindingly white, just like at high noon. Almost instantly, I feel my hand burning. I decisively request an extension on my leave from the department manager. The manager grumbles and mumbles, muttering that I don't necessarily have to be there in person. But if my research project is delayed by a day's worth of performance pay will be deducted. Before he could finish his sentence, I heard a bang explosive sound. It scared me so much, I almost dropped my phone. It was a tire blowout. My heart tightened. I pulled the curtain aside to take a better look. Down by the roadside, the front tire of a private car had collapsed into a heap. The smell of burnt rubber drifted up on the wind, mixing with the scorching air, making my chest feel tight. The road surface shimmered with a layer of distorted heat waves. Even though it was only early morning, it felt like being roasted over a fire. I pressed my fingertips against the burning glass, suddenly feeling that the threat of a pay cut was far less significant than what was happening outside. This abnormal, stifling heat is unsettling. The manager's dissatisfied muttering was still coming through the phone, urging me to reply. I replied, let them deduct it. No amount of money is more important than my life. At 6 a.m., many people are still asleep. I checked the seal on my window. Just then, I noticed 2 staff members downstairs, busily moving crates of mineral water toward the back exit. I lick my lips and stare intently. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 24 crates in total. Not bad. This time the community sent mineral water instead of tap water. They switched to mineral water. Seeing the staff members drenched in sweat, their shoe soles melting and peeling off from the heat, yet still working hard to move them, I closed the curtains. Out of sight, out of mind. I live here alone. And my life is simple, because I live alone. I have quite a lot of supplies stored at home. For the bottled water that requires delivery, I always order at least 10 barrels at a time. And then there's the mineral water. I really have quite a bit of that. Plus, because I like taking baths, before the water was cut off, I had filled the bathtub completely. So, I'm not particularly panicked. I open my phone to check the news, and am surprised to find that the signal is only at 3 bars. 5G has downgraded to 3G. The news online, however, is increasingly alarming. The top trending topics are all about the high heat. Temperatures abroad have now reached 60 degrees. Several railway tracks have caught fire due to the heat. Over 100 people on a train died directly from the heat. While waiting for rescue, I suddenly feel thirsty. Grab a bottle and drink it all in one go, but I'm thirsty again as soon as I finish. Luckily, my apartment faces away from the sun, so the temperature is relatively lower. I don't dare to waste electricity. I closed the news, only to see my phone displaying a temperature of 46 degrees. It was 45 degrees at 3 p.m. yesterday. It's only 6:30 a.m. now. Is my phone broken? I turn to look at the room thermometer by the window, and my heart sinks. The needle is steadily resting on 47 degrees. It's actually risen another degree. Just then, I hear intense arguing outside. It's my neighbor in 9. The couple gets along well, and they have a child. Usually, he listens to his wife on everything, but now he's actually scolding her. It turns out their child needed to use the toilet, and after his wife washed the child's bottom, she used the leftover water to wash her own hair. 901 was furious and yelled at his wife, who sounded wronged and on the verge of tears. I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. If I don't wash it, it's getting greasy enough to fry a whole meal. 901 asked where the washwater was. His wife said she used it to flush the toilet, because the toilet had become too smelly to use. 901's voice became more and more agitated, almost cracking. The child was wailing loudly, with such a big commotion. My neighbor in 904 has remained silent. I really couldn't help it, so I sent a photo of the staff downstairs moving the water. Fuyan, are they going to give us water? The neighbors quickly stopped arguing. Then came the sound of a toilet flushing. 901 went downstairs, but just then, 1001 upstairs suddenly spoke up in the group. Wait, this is the back door of our building. If they're delivering water, why not go through the front door? Don't tell me they're going to curry favor again. The bottom few floors of our building are occupied by foreign residents. As soon as this was said, the group chat exploded. Have they no shame? They delivered water downstairs 3 days ago. They get deliveries twice a week. Why do we only get one? They have connections. Didn't they say last time? Those foreigners need to bathe every morning. They love cleanliness, so the water is only cut after 8 a.m. Stop talking. I'm eating breakfast. Hearing that makes me sick. You still have breakfast. Nice. What are you eating? 1001. What's the point of talking in the group? If you have the guts, go get some. You're just a keyboard warrior. Nobody cares about you. This 1001 is particularly good at stirring up trouble. With that one sentence, the group chat was in a frenzy. Everyone started saying they were going down. I remembered 901 had just gone down. I went to the window to look, and sure enough, he was holding a bucket over his head, gesturing wildly and talking for a long time. But the two staff members looked very firm. They wouldn't give even a single bottle. Finally, some people started grabbing the water. Each person grabbed a crate, and the staff couldn't stop them at all. They just grabbed the nearest person, who happened to be 901. 901 tried to struggle, but he was held tightly. Then 901 started wrestling with them, and was thrown onto the ground. Several parts of his body were scalded by the scorching ground. That day, 901 didn't get a single bottle of water. When he came back, his wife was very angry, constantly complaining that she had thought he would get water. So she had already used their last bottle to wash the baby bottle. 901 actually slapped the woman. The woman immediately began to wail, and they started fighting on the spot. The hallway was in an uproar. Well, after a while, I heard their voices gradually quiet down. I had intended to take a bath to cool down, but when I walked into the bathroom, a wave of humid heat rushed at me. I almost forgot. The human body cools itself by sweating. In an environment that is too humid, sweating prevents the sweat glands from functioning properly. Now, because the bathtub was filled with water, the bathroom had become a giant steamer. I grabbed an empty bucket, emptied the water from the bathtub, and used the excess water to soak blankets. Then hung them on the windows, which seemed to be on the verge of melting. My phone was burning hot. I was truly afraid it would explode, so I put it further away. If this heat continues, if it really stays like this, if there is never any water, who knows what will happen? The phone pinged. It was an alert from the meteorological station. The temperature outside has reached 49 degrees. This news actually made me feel relieved. At least it shows the agencies are still operating, meaning society is still somewhat stable. Another day has passed, and still no water delivery. The manhole cover in the street had been pried open, and was carelessly tossed on the ground. In the middle of the night, someone in the group asked, "Water? Do you know what has the most water in it?" "It's people. I'm a security guard. 2 guys just kicked the bucket downstairs. I'm going to try it." 1001 said, "It's actually feasible. The human body is 78% water." A while later, 802 from downstairs said, "Dead ones won't work. The blood has already congealed. You need a living one." 901 sent a voice message. "You have to choose the person. For instance, a woman's blood tastes sweet." Don't ask me how I know that. The surroundings around him were very quiet. There was no sound of the baby's energetic crying. Everyone immediately stopped talking. I strained my ears to listen for any noise from 901. To this moment, the child hasn't made a single sound. Is it sleeping, or is it sick? I wouldn't dare think about it. The more I thought, the more terrified I felt. I hurried back to my bedroom to sleep. At 6 a.m., I woke up with a start. I crawled up and secretly opened the curtain a crack. Below, 2 young men were dragging a large bag. The shape of the bag clearly looked like a person. My whole body tensed up. I stared fixedly below. All sleepiness vanished. The bag was very heavy. The 2 men were struggling intensely. Just then, a loud knocking sounded at my door. I instantly held my breath, my back soaked in cold sweat. I bit my lip tightly, not making a sound. I light-footedly grabbed a baseball bat, accompanied by 901's voice. 902, "Open the door, it's 900. Immediately after, another man's voice chimed in. He deliberately lowered his tone, feigning a gentle manner. "We're just here to borrow some water. Just a small bucket. We don't want much. After all, we are neighbors. We see each other all the time. We should help each other out a bit. Once we get through this heat wave, we will pay you back double. We definitely won't treat you unfairly." It's the person from 904. Living diagonally opposite, I still maintained absolute silence, seeing no response from inside the house. The people outside completely tore off their masks. The sound of banging on the door became more violent. Angry curses mixed with the sound of kicking the door resounded piercingly. "Don't be ungrateful. Once we get this door open, you're going to get what's coming to you." I heard the footsteps outside moving further away, but I still didn't dare to relax. About 20 minutes later, the 2 of them walked to the door again. This time, they didn't knock. I looked through the peephole. My heart sank instantly. They had lock-picking tools in their hands. I quickly grabbed the pepper spray from the cabinet and snatched a large bag of ultrafine chili powder. The next second, a faint but clear sound of metal friction reached my ears. With a soft click, the door lock was forced open. Neighbor 901 was the first to push the door open and barge in, with a hideous and greedy smile on his face. His eyes were fixed on me. He opened his arms and was about to pounce on me. I raised my hand and aimed the whole bag of chili powder at his face. I threw it out fiercely. The 2 of them immediately covered their eyes, letting out shrill screams. Neighbor 904 was unwilling to let it go, just like that. Enduring the severe pain, he still tried to grope his way forward to pounce. His eyes were full of ferocity. My footing was steady. I gripped the pepper spray in my hand, aimed precisely at his eyes, and pressed the nozzle hard. He let out a wail even more shrill than before, instantly clutching his head and crouching on the ground, completely losing the ability to resist. He could only struggle in pain on the spot. I stepped forward quickly, using all my strength to push the cabinet firmly against the door. Then I checked it several times, to ensure the door wouldn't be easily opened again. Having resolved this sudden crisis, I leaned against the cabinet, gasping for breath. Cold sweat on my back had long since soaked my clothes. Since then, the extreme heat continued. The temperature remained steady at 50 degrees Celsius. The scarcity of water caused humanity to be completely annihilated. Some people died of thirst in the hallways. Their bodies decomposed rapidly under the high temperature, emitting a foul odor. Some were driven mad by the intense heat, hunger, and thirst, running aimlessly and screaming in the residential complex. More people came to blows over a bottle of water, trading punches and kicks. Some even resorted to drawing knives against each other. During countless sleepless nights, looking at the sky distorted by heat waves outside the window, there was only emptiness left in my heart. 3 months later, a long-lost trace of cool breeze pierced through the layers of heat waves, gently brushing across the windowsill. I walked quickly to the window, and pushed open the tightly closed window. Cool raindrops fell in a fluttering shower, hitting my face and arms, bringing unprecedented freshness and gentleness, washing away the heat and fatigue of many days. I looked up at the rain falling from the sky. My nerves, which had been tense for a long time, finally relaxed. This long-awaited heavy rain finally extinguished the extreme heat that had raged for so long, ending this dark and hopeless apocalypse. The parched earth drank the rainwater. The withered plants gradually stretched their branches and leaves. The city was about to welcome a rebirth, and in the baptism of the rain, I was about to welcome a brand new life of my own.